I found a hidden door in my new apartment. My landlord begged me not to open it. That night, I heard scratching from the other side. "Please, let me out," a voice whispered, and it sounded exactly like me. When I called the police, they showed me an old missing persons report. The photo looked just like me, but the date said, "After my divorce, I needed a fresh start." I found a modest apartment in a historic building in Charleston, South Carolina. The rent was affordable, and the place had character, high ceilings, wooden floors, and a charm that only old buildings possess. My landlady, Mrs. Whitaker, was an elderly woman with a stern demeanor. She handed me the keys and said, "Apartment 3B is yours. But whatever you do, don't open the door in the hallway closet." I laughed, thinking she was joking. "Why not?" She looked me dead in the eyes. "Just don't. Promise me." I nodded, more amused than concerned. "All right, I promise." The door. A week into living there, curiosity got the better of me. I opened the hallway closet and noticed a faint outline of a door on the back wall. It was covered in peeling wallpaper, and the doorknob was missing. I remembered Mrs. Whitaker's warning, but the mystery was too tempting. I decided to leave it alone, for now. The voice that night, I was awakened by a faint scratching sound. At first, I thought it was mice. But then I heard it, a voice, barely audible. "Please, let me out." I froze. The voice sounded exactly like mine. I approached the closet, heart pounding. The scratching stopped. Silence. The police. The next morning, I called the police. 2 officers arrived and inspected the closet. They found nothing unusual. But then one of them pulled out his phone and showed me a missing persons report from 1995. The photo was of a man who looked identical to me. "Do you have any relatives in Charleston?" he asked. I shook my head. "No. I've never been here before." They left, advising me to contact them if anything else happened. The research. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I visited the local library and searched for information on the building. It was constructed in the early 1900s and had a history of strange occurrences, disappearances, unexplained noises, and reports of doppelgangers. I found an old newspaper article about a man named Thomas Gray who vanished in 1995. The photo was the same one the officer showed me. He lived in apartment 3B. The dreams. I began having vivid dreams of being trapped in a dark room, pounding on a door, screaming for help. In the dreams, I could hear someone on the other side, but they never responded. Each morning, I woke up feeling exhausted and disoriented. The discovery determined to uncover the truth. I removed the wallpaper and pried open the hidden door. Behind it was a narrow staircase leading down to a small, windowless room. Inside, I found a mattress, a broken mirror, and a journal. The entries were written in handwriting identical to mine. The last entry read, "I don't know how long I've been here. If you're reading this, please help me. I am you." The confrontation that night, the voice returned, louder and more desperate. "Please, let me out. I'm trapped." I stood before the open door, staring into the darkness. "Who are you?" I demanded. "I'm you. The real you." I slammed the door shut and nailed it closed. The escape. I packed my belongings and left the apartment. Mrs. Whitaker watched me from her window, a sad expression on her face. I moved to a new city, trying to start over. But the voice still haunts me, whispering in the darkness. "Please, let me out. I've tried to move on." Really? New apartment, new city, new job. I don't tell people much about Charleston or what happened there. I don't even say the name of the street out loud. But whatever it was I left behind, it didn't stay there. I thought I could just forget it. That maybe my mind had cracked under the pressure, made the whole thing up. But then I started noticing things again. It started small. A coworker made a passing comment, said I looked familiar, like someone they used to know, someone who vanished years ago. I brushed it off. Coincidence. Then came the dreams again. Same dark room. Same whispering voice that sounded like mine. Let me out. But it got worse. One night, I woke up in a panic, soaked in sweat, and I swear, I was lying on the floor, not in my bed. My clothes were different, dirtier. I had scratches on my arms and under my nails. Like I'd been digging or clawing at something. I looked around the apartment. Everything was where it should be. Nothing broken. But the mirror in my bathroom was cracked, right down the middle, and I didn't do it. I called my sister. She's the only one who really knows I'm not okay. She said I didn't sound like myself. Told me I kept repeating things, whispering while she was talking. She said, you kept saying, it's not me. It's not me. Over and over. But I don't remember saying that. One night, I caught my reflection moving. Not just the normal, mirroring, thing, no. I turned my head left. It turned right. My stomach dropped. I stepped forward. The reflection didn't. It smiled at me. I smashed the mirror. Glass flew everywhere. I stood there breathing heavy, staring into the cracked pieces scattered across the sink and floor. My face, no, his face, was still looking back at me from a dozen angles. I called in sick the next day. I didn't leave the apartment. I sat with all the lights on, holding a baseball bat like that was gonna do something. That night, I heard scratching. Again. But I live on the 3rd floor now. There's no basement. No closet with a hidden door. Just a wall. Only this time, the sound was coming from behind the TV. I moved it, nothing. Just drywall. Then the voice came. You shouldn't have left me. I didn't sleep. I sat in the corner of my room until the sun came up. I watched the wall, waiting. I tried to talk to someone. A therapist. I didn't tell her everything, just hinted at some strange feelings, dreams, déjà vu. She gave me a tired look, said stress can manifest in unusual ways. She prescribed something. I filled the prescription but never took the pills. I was scared they'd dull my sense of reality even more, make me vulnerable to whatever this was. A few days later, I came home from work and found a note taped to my door. I'm still in here. No name. Just that. The handwriting, it was mine. That night, I checked the walls again. I tapped, pressed, ran my fingers along the seams. Behind the hall closet, I found a small panel in the drywall. Almost like a maintenance hatch. I shouldn't have opened it. Behind the panel was an old photograph, curled and yellowed at the edges. It was a group photo, people standing outside a building. My building. But not as it looks now. Older. The photo looked like it was from the 80s or 90s. And in the back row, barely visible, was someone who looked exactly like me. I don't mean similar. I mean exact. Same jawline. Same scar above the eyebrow. Even the same shirt I had owned 2 years ago. I don't know how to explain this to people. How do you tell someone you found evidence of yourself decades before you were born? I went back to the police. Different city, different faces, but I thought maybe, just maybe. I showed them the photo. They asked me if I was messing with them. I said no. Then one of them left the room and came back with another file. Another missing person report. This one was from 1983. Same face. Different name. But it was me. I swear it. The officer leaned in. You have a twin? No, ever been adopted? No, he just stared at me. Then who the hell are you? I didn't have an answer. I still don't. Now things are unraveling fast. I keep finding stuff I don't remember owning. A watch I haven't worn in years. A set of keys that unlock nothing in my apartment. A letter addressed to someone else, but in my handwriting. Last night, I caught my reflection watching me again. It didn't move at all. Just stared. And then, it winked. I've stopped looking in mirrors. I avoid my reflection in windows, screens, anything. But sometimes, when I catch a glimpse, I can tell, he's still there. Waiting. I don't think I'm alone anymore. I don't think I ever was. And I have no idea who I really am. I started thinking maybe I was losing it. Maybe this was all in my head. So I took time off work. Locked up the apartment. Stayed in a motel, just for a week. No mirrors. No scratching. Nothing weird. It helped. At least at first. But I couldn't stay in hiding forever. I had to go back to the apartment eventually. When I got back, my door was already unlocked. I stood in the hallway, keys still in hand. I knew I had locked it before leaving. I stepped inside slowly. The place was clean. Too clean. Like someone had scrubbed it from top to bottom. Everything was in place, but nothing felt familiar. There was a smell in the air, bleach and something else. Something rotting. Then I saw it. A photo frame sitting on the kitchen table. One I didn't own. Inside was a picture of me. Smiling. Sitting on my couch. Same apartment. But I don't remember taking that photo. My mouth was smiling, but my eyes looked terrified. There was a note under the frame, "You're the copy." That word hit me like a truck. I sat down, trying to breathe. Copy? What did that even mean? I tore through the apartment, looking for anything that felt wrong. That's when I found the closet door, open. The panel in the wall was gone. Just an empty, black space. I grabbed my flashlight and shined it inside. The beam barely touched the back. I reached in. It felt too deep. Like it stretched beyond the dimensions of the apartment. And then, from the darkness, "Help me." The voice was weak. Broken. But it sounded like mine again. This time, I didn't hesitate. I climbed in. The walls closed around me. It felt like a tunnel, tight and damp. I crawled for what felt like hours. The only sound was my breathing, and sometimes, the scrape of something moving just behind me. Eventually, I dropped down into a room. Same size as mine. Same layout. But older. Decaying. The furniture was covered in dust, mold creeping across the floor and walls. It was like my apartment had been abandoned for years. And in the center, sitting in a chair, was me. Thin. Pale. Hair longer. Beard wild. He looked up at me with hollow eyes. "You came back," he said. "What is this?" I asked. "You took my place." My head was spinning. "I don't understand. I've been here since 1995. I tried to escape. I thought I made it. But something followed me. Took my life. Wore my face." I shook my head. "No. I'm real." "You're not," he whispered. "You were made to replace me. But you're breaking. That's why you hear me. That's why you see me." I started backing away. "This isn't happening." "I left the door open once," he said. "Now you did the same. It'll find someone else." I turned and ran back through the tunnel. Crawled, gasping, scraping my hands raw. I could hear it behind me now, something slithering, something not human. I burst out of the closet and slammed it shut. I nailed it shut, taped it shut, stacked furniture in front of it. I sat on the floor, shaking, covered in dust and blood. For a while, I didn't move. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Then came the knock on the door. 3 slow knocks. I didn't answer. But something slid under the door. It was another photo. Me again. This time, I was standing in the hallway, looking at the camera. Smiling. But I didn't take that photo. And I was still inside the apartment. I checked the peephole. No one was there. I started seeing people around the building who looked like me. One was taking out the trash. Another was in a car across the street. Just, watching. I left Charleston to get away from this. But now I wonder, what if I brought it with me? Or worse, what if he let me go? What if I was never meant to leave? Because last night, I looked into the mirror again. And it didn't show me. It showed him, the thin, pale version. The original. Still trapped. Still staring. And he mouthed one word before fading, run. But now, it's too late. Because this morning, I woke up in the dark again. Same room. Same walls. Same smell. And I can hear someone else walking around my apartment. Using my voice. Living my life. I'm back in the wall. And this time, the door's gone. Forever. I've stopped counting the days. It's always dark in here. No windows. No sense of time. Just cold air and silence, except when he walks around out there, pretending to be me. I've screamed. Punched the walls. Scratched until my fingers bled. No one hears me. Or maybe, no one wants to. Sometimes I hear him laughing. Sometimes crying. But mostly, he's silent. Living my life. Wearing my face. I thought I was going mad, until yesterday, when I heard something new. A woman's voice. She was talking to him. "Nice place," she said. "I didn't know you lived here." Then silence. A few hours later, I heard something bang. A drawer. A cabinet. Then screaming. Then silence again. I pressed my ear to the wall. Nothing. Until I heard dragging. Something heavy being pulled across the floor. The laughter came back. But this time, it was hers. And then her voice said the exact same words I had once whispered in the dark, "Please, let me out." It hit me like ice water. He did it again. She's trapped now too. He left the door open, and let someone else in. He's not alone anymore. He's making copies. I don't know how, or why, but he's replacing us. One by one. We're all down here. Stacked like forgotten memories behind the walls, under the floors, inside the shadows. And the world keeps spinning above us. The copies living our lives. Laughing. Working. Loving. Pretending. I don't even know if I was the original. Maybe I've always been a copy. Maybe the first me is long gone. All I know is, when the scratching starts, when you hear your own voice asking to be let out, don't open the door. Not unless you're ready to lose everything. Because the moment you do, he steps in. And you disappear. Just like I did. Just like she did. Just like you will.